let Sandy introduce herself, because I really want to make use of all of your time to allow Q&A at the end. So Sandy, it's all yours.
All right. Thanks, Deb.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you to it's an overview of the It's My Turn self-determination training, and it's just really good to be with all of you today. As Deb said, my name's Sandy Brickner, and I'm the statewide preschool program coordinator with the Ohio Coalition for the Education of Children with Disabilities. So along with my preschool role, I support families and educators in North Central Ohio. And I also provide training across the state, including this It's My Turn self-determination training. And I certainly enjoy spending time with the students. It's a great reminder of why I do my job. It's all about the child. And whether you're here today wanting to learn more for your own child, or maybe students that you serve, we all have that one commonality. We're here for the children. And this training is a great representation for being all about the students. Deb, I want to thank you for inviting me to provide the training today and working out all the details to make this happen. I know there's a lot of behind the scene things to make something like this happen, so thank you. The Coalition is a statewide nonprofit organization that serves families of infants, toddlers, children, and youth with disabilities in Ohio, as well as educators and agencies who provide services to them. So we're a coalition of over 40 parent and professional disability organizations and over 70 individuals. We've been funded since 1984 by the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Special Education Programs, or OCEP, as the Parent Training and Information Center, or PTI, for the state of Ohio. Now, as a PTI, we provide a variety of services, including one-on-one support and assistance, workshops like this, and webinars. And we have our website where individuals can find a variety of resources, such as publications and tip sheets at no cost. The majority of the coalition staff are parents of children with disabilities, and because of that, we bring both personal experience and expertise to our work. I myself am a parent, and I love doing presentations virtually or in person so that parents and educators can receive the information that they need. I was there at one time, and I know how beneficial and helpful it was to me. I just really want to pay it forward. So if you have questions during the training, please feel free to put them in the chat. Deb will be monitoring that for questions and comments or concerns. I'd be happy to respond to any of those. The It's My Turn training, I guess this is a warning. It's My Turn training is one of my favorite topics in the world. Well, I guess besides my grandbabies, of course. But seriously, when I get started talking about It's My Turn, it's a little challenging to get me to stop. So at some point, Deb, you might just have to say, okay. I guess I've just seen so many life-changing moments for students. They bloom and they blossom, and all of that just needs to be shared. So do we have ideas? We have parents or professionals with us, Deb? Have they put it in the chat? Oh, I need you to unmute.
We have both.
Okay, great.
So parent and some parents that are also professional.
Awesome. All right.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good. All right, so please know that this is not my first choice of how I would like to be presenting this training to you, because I believe the best way to learn what this training is all about is to attend and experience the actual event. It's My Turn is an experience. You don't go to an It's My Turn training, you experience it. And since that's really not possible today, I've chosen the next best thing that I can think of and I have the tools for to make that happen, and that's pictures. Pictures are worth 1,000 words, we hear, and hopefully I've captured some of that for you so that you get a taste of the essence of the It's My Turn training. So we look at this young adult here, and what do you think she's feeling? If you don't mind, if you would put in the chat what you think she's feeling. Like, just look at that face. She's got her cap and gown on. She's all excited. While you're doing that, I'm going to share the quote that is there. You can see that quote at the bottom of the first slide. And This is how one parent summed up "It's my turn" for her child. And you'll be seeing more quotes that I've collected throughout the years in this first few slides, and then later again towards the end of the training. I believe they're a good reflection of the outcomes for the students, staff, and families. It's a combination of everyone winning after receiving this training or during this training. I've got a lot of fond memories of this training. I've seen miracles happen, systems change. Well, students are empowered, families are empowered, school personnel, community members, and agencies, they're changed and empowered. It's something that affects everyone. And it's really like a ministry. And in fact, one superintendent shared at the end of parent night with disbelief on his face, like he couldn't believe it. He said, this is like a retreat. I can just feel the love all around me. And it really brings everyone together. That is for sure. So good. So good. All right. So it's not changing here. There we go.
So I just want to tell you, you asked the question, people said,
Yes.
excited, pride, excitement, happy, proud, filled to the brim.
Oh, love it. Love it. Those are exactly the things we want for our kids, isn't it? Wonderful, wonderful. That is our hope for our students. Thank you for sharing that. Just a brief history of It's My Turn. We started out as a binder of a lot of papers and pencil, using that. Started in the 90s, and like 98, 99, somewhere in there, just decided we needed a more hands-on approach. And it became a 2-day event, including 2 boxes of curriculum. One was living in the adult world, and the other one, employment choices. And then later, those 2 days became 3 days, have that extra optional day that gives us more time to spend on that employment part of transition. And I started back helping somewhat that late 90s there, and then full force in 2000 with the training. And it's a work in progress. So as you listen to things here and you have ideas that you think might be helpful, send them our way. We are certainly open to new ideas, ways of doing things, or new ideas of information that should be shared. So please, we'll have our contact information later. All right, so our It's My Turn mission is to help make transition easier for students and help them become better self-advocates. That was the main focus. And we believe the curriculum that we use in those 2 card boxes that I talked about and the hands-on activities are solid and support that mission to be realized. And we're going to have an overview of each of the activities and their purposes today. Well, most of the activities, a real quick overview. We're focused on each individual student receiving information and, more importantly, discovering and learning more about themselves. As we create a safe and accepting environment, then they'll be able to let the walls down to others and, most importantly, to themselves, so they can truly look within themselves without putting
Hello,
more.
Hi. 5 minutes
up.
to get up here.
How are
All
you?
morning.
Right.
I have a question, Sandy, from the chat. Anne wanted to know if this is an in-school program.
Okay.
Oh,
And then,
yeah, that's a good
Okay.
question.
Okay.
I just didn't get a chance.
Okay, so could we,
Okay. Fine
I
coffee.
really- See if I can mute her. Okay.
there we go. Okay, great. Yes, this is typically we provide this training in a school setting, or school district is responsible for the students when we're providing the training. And you'll see later that we'll see different places that schools can have this. They can have it within their building. They can have it outside of their building, and we'll talk more about that in a few slides. But also other people can have this training and be the responsible party for the students. It doesn't have to be the school district. I provided this training at rehab centers. They may have summer programs where they have students and we've done this training for them. I've done it for organizations like a Down Syndrome Association as a summer program, but also as a weekend program for them. A couple of different Saturdays we would get together. One time we did it for them, it was one full Saturday. So we mixed it up a little bit. I believe parents, actually, I did this training virtually for a group of parents, and the parents were involved with that process. I imagine yes, I believe one time I did do it for a group of parents. They were associated with they were with an association, but the parents took responsibility and they were part of that process too. So it is open to a mixed bag of whatever, if you have an idea or thought of how you would like to bring this to a group of people, just reach out and we'll see what we can do to work, put a process together to make it happen.
Would a large
question.
homeschool group work with this as well?
Absolutely, yes. We would definitely need parent participation because we wouldn't have another sponsor responsible for the students. So the parents would need to be involved with that. And which, like I did do that with one, an association that I worked with, and it worked out marvelously. It was fantastic. So yeah, homeschooling group would work out great. Oh, okay. So anyways, we're focused on each individual student receiving information and, more importantly, discovering and learning more about themselves. So we have that, that safe place is so important. And we want them to take all these walls down, the walls that they might have built up and don't even realize they do, and really realize what they're capable of becoming, and knowing that the sky's the limit for their goals and dreams for their future. Let's not let obstacles get in the way of their hopes and dreams. All right, so there are 5 areas that we covered during the 3-day training, and you'll see all 5 of those here. And as we go through the slides, you'll see the different areas, how they're covered based on those highly interactive activities that we have. We ask for the students, you'll see here a schedule of events. And so it's 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We prefer those 3 days. After doing this for so many years, we found ways and things that help make this more successful. And having Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are really the best days. Starting on a Monday is more difficult for students, and ending on a Thursday is a really good day to end for parent night that evening. So this is, the way we have things set up. Depending on the number of students, we can have up to 32 students for one particular 3-day training. We have a max of 16 students in a morning session, and we'll have that first day, we'll go through the Living in the Adult World curriculum. And then in the afternoon, we can have another group of 16 students with that same curriculum, 2.5-hour sessions for each group. And then the second day, it's the same thing, only have a new card box, new curriculum, talking about employment. And the same with the third day, 2.5 hours for each session in the morning and the afternoon. If it's workable, especially if it's in a school and the school is concerned about the students missing 3 days in a row, the same specific classes, they can flip the classes. So if the students in the AM session, the next day they could be in the PM session, but we keep the groups together. The same AM group sticks together for the entire 3 days, and that second group sticks together with each other for the 3 days as well. We like to have some time in between the 2 sessions so that we clean up from the first group, set up for the second group, and we might need to get a little break in there ourselves. So we like to have an hour between, so that takes up 6 hours of the day. If we can't, because of things on the school's end, because transportation and other kind of unique situations, we're fine with condensing that. And we will come as early as a school would like us to do. We're flexible in that, whatever works best for their schedules and the transportation of their students. We do need to arrive 1 hour early. So if the school wants to start at 7:30, we will be there at 6:30 for setup. So making that all happen as well. I have a handout in the handouts. There is a copy of this in case you're wanting to share this information with your school or other people to get a little bit, have a visual of what that looks like during that time. So we also have the students that can participate are transition age students, which would mean age 14 up to 22, so through 21, if they're still in school and they are considered transition age, we can provide this training for them. So we also, that third night, like I said, we have parent night, and that's usually from 6 to 8. And we'll talk more in depth and specifics about what parent night is and through each of the days here as we go along through the slides.
Sandy, did you mention that you would be leading this group?
It would depend where and when the school or group of people would want the training.
Okay.
And we'll, at the end, I'll have my contact information for anyone that is interested in that, then they can reach out, call me, email me, and we'll make sure if it's not me, it's someone else that will be providing it. So we start that first day, we're all set up when the students come. Our card boxes, that curriculum will be sent to the school or to your organization before the training. My vehicle is it's a huge SUV, but it's loaded top to bottom, front to back, side to side. You know, it's got a lot of materials in there to bring for the students. So we send the boxes ahead of time. And in these pictures, you can see the black card box. That's one of the day curriculum there. That's the first day, actually, the living. And so we'll have, that should be in that room that day. And then we move forward with things. So you'll see there's like a U shape there. As we go through the pictures, you'll see other U shapes. We like that to be set up ahead of time for us. Card boxes are there, we're ready to go. There will be music. So it's something to consider when planning where the location where it will be. Many times teachers will ask, what's my responsibility? And I will just say, role model the behavior that you want your students to exhibit. You know, you're attending, you're engaged. We provide all of the materials, all of the props. We just might need your room possibly. And so please be rest assured, it may not look like your room for 3 days, but we'll try to get it back to looking like your room before we leave on that last day. We do have a planning meeting 6 weeks prior to the scheduled training, and we'd like for anyone that will be having students participate to be part of it. So if there is an intervention specialist, or if it's a group of parents, the parents be part of that planning meeting so that there's a good understanding of what it is, so that that can be brought back to the people or back to the students, and sharing that excitement with the students as well. And the more heads we put together, the better, you know, we can brainstorm and have an easier time of taking care of their responsibilities of preparing for it. So transition coordinators, special ed directors, the principal, intervention specialists, all helpful to be part of that planning meeting. Not required, but really, really helpful to help you have a successful training and make it not so taxing on, you know, 1 or 2 people. Our top priority before anything else with the training, though, is to have a safe and loving environment for the students. And we provide multisensory teaching, you know, methods that we're using to support the students. You see the quote up here on top, you know, techniques used attract students to become active learners. Are these 3 students active learners? Are they engaged learners? What do you think? What do they look like? Absolutely. We bring many materials to help them engage, you know, for that engagement. So if you check out this picture, you'll see what the environment looks like. This is a much smaller classroom, but we still have our U shape, and it works. We will be flexible and work with what you have to offer. And Make it where it can be that classroom, it can be a conference room, the library in your school. It can be off campus, like a local community college, a civic center, could be at a church. Sometimes schools like to have it off campus. Other schools like to have it right, in their school. Or if you're thinking as a parent group, a homeschool group, that would work just as well. And we would need space, wall space, because you can see I'm taking the picture from the front. And as they look at the front, there's wall space where we will have our visuals. So we need it set up that way. Okay. So we just talked about some of the nuts and bolts of the training, and we'll talk briefly about some of the activities to give you a flavor of what the students will be exposed to. We have a transition activity in the beginning to help them understand what does transition mean, changing from one event to another. You can see we have volunteers come up and we actually see a student transition from school to life. They put that cap and gown on and they practice the ceremonial walk. Pomp and circumstance music is going. And note the 4 grads in the pictures here. See how they've all responded differently in the same activity. They've got different personalities and circumstances. They create different responses. And we've got to be ready for everything and be respectful of each student's unique situation. No one's required to do anything. Everything's volunteer. And I absolutely love their uniqueness. So we have an Uncle Sam activity, and this is where there's community participation. We look at, well, the purpose of the activity is to realize how important it is to be involved in their community. There are many choices and ways to be involved in the community and how to go about being involved in your community. It's important to go out and contribute and make a difference, and also to have good old fun with friends in our community. So we, the activities where Uncle Sam visits, and that will be one of the adults there, whether it's teachers or parents, and helps to lead that discussion on ways to be involved in the community. Things such as sporting events, volunteering, voting, civic organizations, what they can do now, but most importantly, what they can do after they graduate, because there won't be a teacher there saying, hey guys, bowling league registration is this week, and this is how you register. This is something that they'll be responsible for, or someone else supporting them through that responsibility. That teacher will no longer be there for that. Each activity that we have, we follow that up with getting into their card box and making choices and decisions for their future. So after this community activity, each student will make their own personal choices for their future, what they want to do in their community, and be involved in that. They mark their cards so that after that day, their parents, school, and they themselves can revisit it to help them move forward with setting goals. How are we going to use this information now? We don't want it to just get lost in that box and never to be seen again. Following up and taking action with this information. These are their choices, and that's important. I remind them that just because they haven't tried it before doesn't mean they can't mark it. They may want to try something new. And there's no wrong answer. It's only what's right for them. Just because their neighbor chooses one thing, it doesn't mean that that's the thing for them to do. Or if their parent or teacher like it, doesn't mean they have to like it or not like it. There is a My Life Choices booklet that they can fill out along the way with information, or it can be filled out in the classroom afterwards together. And it's not something that we have to do, but the teacher may choose to work on that. So it depends on a lot of variables, what's going on. We'd like to modify and accommodate for the students' needs. We have breaks built in, and that includes the adults in the room. This is we have movement breaks built in. There's purpose behind it and when we have the breaks. So there's seat time, there's movement time. We try to mix it all up and as best as we can to meet the needs of each of the students. And this is a good time to develop a rapport with the students even more. The 3 days really are a bonding time. Teachers aren't responsible for the teaching. They're experiencing the activities right with the students, and it doesn't matter where their relationship is before the training. They seem to bond and have closer ties after the training, and it's pretty cool to see. I don't know if you all know that Deal or No Deal game that's been around a long time ago. This is a little bit of a take on that game, and we use scenarios that the students may encounter in life and look at the choices they can make and what the consequences might be to those choices. So you see the teachers there. There are lovely ladies holding the briefcases, number 1, 2, and 3. The students will follow up this activity making life choices from the curriculum. Where might they live? Will they need transportation? What kind of transportation? Will they get a driver's license? Will they ride a bus, public transportation? Who will they live with? Those kinds of life choices they'll be making. And that last day, we finish with, everybody loves that froggy game. Everybody participates. And it's a budgeting game. If you look at the top right picture, you'll see the student is the game piece and the board is on the floor and he has to go around that board and he picks up different bills he needs to pay for the month. And he gets a certain amount of money because he has a job. And the question is, can he pay his bills before he runs out of money for the month? So we, work through that. And well, one training I remember that we have dice. So he knows how many places he needs to go. I gave the dice to someone and all of a sudden they came up missing. And I just, okay, I said, I wonder where that went. And I turned around, looking around, and then I turned back to the student and all of a sudden it reappeared. And it was just so cool. My point is, we don't expect your students to be perfect. No one is. None of us are perfect, and it's okay. So in this, back to the froggy game piece, here we can see another student and how this is happening. They have to pay their bills, and we recap at the end. How could we have saved money? How did he save money? Did he have money left over, or was he busted? And it costs a lot of money to have a party. It costs a lot of money to have a pet. It costs a lot of money to own your own car and care for your car. And you can save money if you don't buy name brand clothing. So they just kind of learning a little bit more about those expenses in relationship to the choices that they're making. Some of the trainings that each of the students will have their own debit card and play along as that student is. And it depends on our group, and we modify and accommodate that piece as we go along. And they determine then too, did they have enough money to pay all of the bills, the choices that they made? The next day, our last day, the second day, sorry about that, they'll receive a new card box. And we will talk about IDEA law, and specifically the part that talks about transition. We have a story. Each of the students participates in that story. We have Congress and the people. And the purpose is to understand that there are laws to protect their education and preparing for their future. Their education is important. I mean, they made laws specifically for them because their education is important. And the decisions that are made now are important for their future. Anybody here like to win prizes? I like to win prizes, and the students seem to like to win prizes. And we have a hat contest. And the purpose of this is to follow up that last IDEA activity and make it more concrete. They decorate their hats with all the parts of that law that we talked about in the last activity. And the winners are chosen not by the artistic part of it, by the ones that have the most on their hat that represents the IDEA law that we discussed. So we talk about it in the story, we review it, and then they put things on their hats. So they're receiving that information 3 times. And look how focused they are on doing their hats, really. I'm not sure if it's about IDEA law they're so excited about or the prizes. All-knowing. This activity, one of the adults will dress up as the all-knowing and will be giving students their jobs because they know everything about the student and they know the exact perfect job that they should have. And the idea behind it is they are given the job that they really do not want to have. And you can see the reactions here. We have 3 different students, and look at the different responses. The first one, she's just pleading and begging, please, no, I don't want this job. And the second one is just shocked. And the third one is wondering, how am I going to get out of this? And this was a real opportunity for her to advocate for herself. She had to think, she thought things through before she could say what she really needed to say and practice her advocacy skills. The point is, we don't need someone else giving us our job for us or making decisions about our future for us. But if we don't use our voice, somehow that will happen. If they don't like the job the all-knowing chose for them, then they have an opportunity to choose their own. And you can see here in the pictures that they're looking at at different choices, making decisions about specific jobs for their future. On the back of each of the cards has the job duties for that job, the worker's characteristics and education and training that's needed. So it's a great way for them to research their options, check out, these students on here on the right, like they're really talking, having conversation together, which is just another added in-depth part of that researching, finding out how each other's thinking about or what one might know and the other doesn't know, and just the way that they're communicating and learning from each other as well. But when you can look at these cards so easily, first of all, there's no writing in this training for the students, and there's very limited reading. You'll see there's maybe 3, 4 words at the most, maybe 1 word sometimes, with a visual cue on all the cards. On this one, this has the most because on the back there's a lot of reading, but we want to have lots of support in that room. We'll have 2 trainers. It'll be if it's myself, and then I'll have a support person. And then we rely on the school or the parents to have other additional support that can help students if there is a need for that reading part. And maybe they can read, but just, the words easily, but understanding what's this question really asking of me? Maybe I need it to be re-asked in a different way for understanding. After they have chose a card, they can choose 3 cards, 5 cards max. And then they go to the props that we have available. They have lots of fun of discovering all the different props of jobs that are out there. It's another way to have an opportunity to make choices. They may have already made card choices for their job, but they can still find different ways of thinking about how jobs might be out there. And they find the items they need for one job choice, and they'll put that on. I love to take pictures at every group of them with their job choices, and they're excited about it. For one student, he was tying a tie for the first time, and that was just a milestone for him. And I remember a student putting on the suit, and it was so powerful to see, like he never thought he would ever wear a suit, and he got to put a suit on, and it helped him to realize, I'm getting goosebumps now just thinking about it, but it really helped him to understand that, yes, just because I haven't seen anyone in my life wear a suit doesn't mean I can't wear a suit. And not to let that be a barrier involved in, tunnel vision of the kind of job that he could have. Oh, my goosebumps are still coming. Oh, so, some are just very excited about their jobs. And when we so they have this, we take their pictures, we sit down, and then we research that job. It helps everyone learn more about all of the jobs, and what to consider when choosing a job. We might ask things like, well, what kind of education do you need for this? We can look at the back and discover that. Why did you choose this job? That might help us determine, more avenues for them as well. And do you get dirty or stay clean with this job? Do you have to work over holidays for this job? So just kind of researching. And as we're talking about one person's job, the other person might be thinking, well, how is that relating to my job here? For someone, we might find out, oh, it takes 8 years of college and an internship to be a doctor. I'm not so sure I want to go to college that long, but I do like the medical field. Then we ask questions. Who else works in a hospital or in a doctor's office and can see patients? And we start, naming all the people. Oh, well, this person, they need a certificate and they can work with people. This person may be a 2-year degree and they can work, with patients. So it's really, looking at, just branching out even more and researching the possibilities in the jobs that are out there. We start the second day of employment. We have teachers and oh, my slide's not changing here. There we go. There we go. Okay. Well, we start that second day. Do we have teachers? We had some school people here, some parents here, teachers, principals. Which role, the question for you is, if you be at this training, which role would you like to play? Superman or Clark Kent? Because, this, along with all the other adults, Uncle Sam, the all-knowing, if you feel like you really are the all-knowing, you can choose your roles. We'll have something available for you. But what we basically do, Superman comes flying in with his, with his cape soaring around, and we compare and contrast their jobs. Superman wears a uniform. That's how we could identify who he was when he entered the room. Clark Kent dresses up. Some people wear jeans and a t-shirt, and that's okay. Superman will work with animals and older people and babies and teenagers, all kinds of people. And Clark he works with his laptop. He does some sitting. He does talk to adults. So we're just kind of, looking at those differences. Clark can depend on his paycheck every 2 weeks, and he actually gets a vacation and gets paid for his vacation. That doesn't quite happen with Superman. So we look at all those variables, and not always, but sometimes I'll ask Superman and Clark Kent to share a strength that they have that helps them to do their job. And then I'll ask the students to share a strength that they have that will help them with the job. Sometimes it's easy for students, but many times it's not. And I'll ask the teachers to help out. And it is a very powerful moment when the students hear their teachers sharing a strength that they have. And it's real specific and honed in. You can hear a pin drop and the eye contact. Again, I got more than goosebumps now. I just want to tear up. It's very powerful. And it's another time where they bond together. Teachers are so busy in their classrooms and getting the things done. And this just gives them an opportunity to have a little more just downtime with the students. So again, after the activity, we had that card sorting time, and everyone's looking at what kind of job characteristics do they want in a job? Do they want to work weekends or weekdays? Do they mind if they dress up or wear a uniform? Do they want to work with animals, computers, children, other people? This is their time to make those choices. And if we have time, if you can see the board back there, you see someone has their card choices up there. And if we have time, we'll have one student come up and we'll look at their choices and see if it matches the job that they chose the day before their job. And this student, apparently everything was under the plus. So we talk about, then that'll be a good job choice for that student. We want people to love their jobs. I explain how I love my job. I can't believe I get paid to come and spend the day with them. I actually get paid. I love to be with people and students, move around, go to new places, and it's a good fit for me. And that's what we want for each one of our students. And that's our hope for them. and a large purpose for all of what we're doing here with the students. We want them to wake up in the morning and be happy, or in the evening, be happy and love to have their job, go to their job too. We don't want them to settle. We don't want them to settle.
I have one question. Is this program free?
Yes, it is. Perfect timing. I was just going to talk about the boxes. Yeah, the program is, there's no cost to the school unless they are going off campus and they need to have transportation to take their students off campus, then they'll need to pay for that. But everything is free. The boxes, some people will ask at times, about those. If the training is, if you're scheduling a training, the boxes are free. If you want the boxes without a training, there is a charge, but they are accessible. So if there's a teacher that would like them, but the school's not buying into it, they can still purchase it. Or maybe the school will just purchase, a set for them. Or if a parent would like a set for their child, that can happen too. And we'll have our contact information again, will be at the last slide, so you will know how you can reach out and request that. It's a really important question, isn't it? That the cost of it is, yes. And that's why we need, at the end, we need you to fill out your evaluation so we can keep our funds coming so we can provide this free of charge. Whoops, I think I moved forward. Okay. Who would like to be a member of the Village People? You don't all have to shout at once, but you all might have that. Okay, all right, Deb's going to, all right. And you'll be singing a different version of the YMCA, but it's a secret right now. You're gonna have to think about that one. It's another time of information and build-in movement. Keep the movement and things going. Here's a picture from an actual mock IEP meeting that's in progress. We start out with a staff. They're in various roles of the IEP team members. And as the teachers are prompted, they do it all wrong. And as the students discover how things are inappropriate, then the students will, they'll call them out on it. They'll replace them in the meeting and then talk about the issue and what is more appropriate. How should they do this more appropriately? And it's a pivotal moment when the students he becomes involved, or she, and everyone starts to focus on him. The students, their bodies actually, just instinctually, their bodies turn towards the student, and there's this listening and asking questions, and it's really powerful. And so the purpose of all of this is for the students. First of all, you need to be attending your IEP meetings. And second of all, you need to be speaking up at your IEP meetings, either in the meeting or before the meeting, so that your voice is heard, sharing their ideas and their interests and their dreams and maybe their concerns, either in the meeting or out of the meeting. And then we'll say, you have these boxes of cards. You made choices. This is good information that you can share with your team to help set goals and objectives for choices for your future. I remember one student at a local DD. She didn't really speak a lot during the training. She wasn't nonverbal, but had some, wasn't speaking a lot. And so when she was the student in the IEP meeting, and some of the people were saying, oh, I want her to be this or that. And she just spoke up so confidently and clearly and said, no, not whatever it was. I want, and she said what it was she wanted. I mean, the staff were crying. We were all crying. Like, she really spoke what she wanted. It was really cool to see how she developed her advocacy skills during that time. And it reminds me of another student in another school who was nonverbal at school. She did speak some at home, but had never spoken at school. And they had told us she enjoyed horses. So we had some horse stickers available. Slowly, slide them over to her, start making eye contact. And yes, I can't remember the word, but I'm getting goosebumps again. She spoke, and the staff were shocked. They cried during during the training that day. And then at parent night that night, they told the parent, and she just, yeah, her tears flowed too. So more of those miracles that happen. So there's a lot of great conversation that comes out of that particular meeting at the mock IEP, not only speaking like for the first words, maybe for some, they do speak a lot, but they don't feel like they're heard. Not by anybody's fault, but they just don't really feel like they're heard. And so we also get questions come up, conversations about college, and we have sometimes we're finished with that activity, but we have a lot of continuous conversation that brings up other things that they may have concerns about or questions about. And then we can address those things at that time. It's a great opportunity for growth and insight into themselves. Okay, we're going to hurry along here. That flows right into our last activity for the day. And so they create their masterpiece. It's a collage activity. There are many pictures of all kinds of choices that they may want to choose for their future, where they're going to live. Are they going to have a family, pets? What are they going to do in their free time? Are they attending a college? We have small colleges, large colleges. We have lots of pictures that represent jobs and items that someone might need for their job. What kind of transportation will be they need to get to work? Just a well-rounded life. They can draw, write, explain if they choose. And this is a masterpiece of their future. They're dreaming and dreaming big. We want an abundance of items throughout the training for them, but most importantly for these pictures, so it creates an environment of abundance. Because we have an environment of abundance, my hope is that we are creating an abundant life, and that we can create an abundant life. That takes us to our parent night. So parent night is usually from 6 to 8 on that Thursday evening. And we used to provide a meal, and we are no longer able to do that. But we always highly encourage finding resources to provide a meal, letting the students know that they're so valuable, and we're having a dinner for you. Even if it's pizza, a lot of places will donate to schools and parent groups. And career tech centers, they may have students that would like to prepare food for someone, even if it's cookies and some sort of desserts, ice cream and cookies. That's helpful too. This motto I've had for many, many years is feed them and they shall come. It helps, especially if parents are coming home from work and they have dinner to get and this to come to. So it can be helpful, a helpful incentive. It's not required, it's just helpful. We want to set a tone that they're important, and this event is a big deal for them. We ask for as many school personnel to attend: intervention specialists, the gen ed teachers, guidance counselors, administrators, board members, and community involvement. We ask the school to invite community members, agencies that may be helpful for transition, OOD, Ohio Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities, the local DD, maybe 2 or 4 year colleges, depending on the needs of your students and depending on the agencies that are in your local areas. There's not too many that could be invited. The mayor's actually been invited in a couple of situations, and the students were shocked that the mayor was coming and wanted their picture taken with them. It's really make it your own. Where are there areas that you need more visibility for your students and what they can do? And we can create things to help enhance that. And this is a good time to do that. Even during the training, during the days, inviting people in to participate, just be part of it, that's fine too. But we ask that 10 minutes. Okay. All right. So we asked, that they be invited and help out with that. The students at parent night, they can share their choices in their boxes. As you can see here, they share their collages for the families. This is a wonderful time to see that work. We've had, they go through a line and receive a certificate, shake everyone's hands from the school. powerful to watch the parents as they receive their awards and focusing on what they can do.
I have a question.
Yes,
Have you thought about inviting people who actually do the jobs the students want to do when possible?
that's something that the school could probably work out. I do know that that's something that happens in schools. At times they have, I've heard of other adults saying, I've gone to the school this week to share about my job. I think that's something that they do on a regular basis. It's something that probably could be incorporated. It's just we have such a wide variety of interest in things too. But I like the idea of someone being invited to parent night that is a business owner. And I think one of the last two trainings, we did have a business owner come because he talked about what he was looking for in an employee and the skills they might need to be prepared for that job. So that's a good point in how that could be, like in a general term, have an employee or an employer be part of that. The favorite part of the evening is going through the collages and students sharing their talents. And parents are just excited when they see all of those things happen. I want to share one story about a student that came to parent night and shared his talent. It's been quite a few years ago, but during the training of the 3 days, he came in, wore his black long trench coat, during the day. His hair, he had 3 large spikes in his hair, had black, and he participated and did great. And then it came to parent night, and he came, and he didn't have his parents with him. He decided to come even though his parents wouldn't come. And he didn't have his black long trench coat on. And his hair, the teachers didn't recognize him at first because his hair was flat, and it was the first time they ever saw him with flat hair. He left his barriers, his walls down, and he sang. He had an exchange student friend there at the school that played the guitar, and he sang the song Tears from Heaven. And there wasn't a dry eye in the house. So he just transformed. This is a transformational process. And there are all kinds of assessments, electronic assessments, paper pencil assessments for transitional information to gather for on students. And that's important. This is just another added piece, a different piece to help students be in this place where they can really develop that belief in themselves, having higher expectations of themselves, and making truer decisions than based on that. And that's what makes this more unique, I guess. And
Sandy, I hate to interrupt you, but we have another question. Is there an ideal age for students to attend? Is earlier better? Is this something the students can attend more than once, or would they use their box/process to update their interests/choices?
Good question. Yes. There are pros and cons to every age, but as Suzanne, who was the director of OEC a few years ago, when they are helping to fund us, and we talked to her about, how early, she said, it's never too early to start on transition. So the earlier, the better. And it gives more time, more opportunity to learn more about the student and that self-discovery process, being more actively and meaningfully involved in the process, and carrying on through that time. And yes, they will use this same box and they can continue. We suggest that they revisit these cards because we all change. And, looking at them, maybe there are different options that they're interested in. They've discovered with some of it because they've done some work like job shadowing or investigative work that they don't really like this job over here anymore and they want to investigate more. So continually working through the card boxes would be very beneficial. Each year taking a look at key areas. Some areas you may know, and it's not a lot of a change, but some of the areas it may be. So yeah, just continuing that process throughout can be very helpful. All right. We will pick and choose. We've gone through most of the functional pieces of information that you need. I do want you to know that it is a diverse group. We're talking about ages, but also ability levels. It's very diverse. We accommodate and modify as we see fit. We will speed things up and add more things or slow things down if we need to. So there's no fear in who is this best for. It works. It's been proven that it works for all students. I think we will finish up with, yes. One of the students at parent night, she shared a poem, and well, first, before we say that, this first quote here is from a teacher with her student talking about how things were different after the training, and she spoke more at her IEP meeting. That's a big deal. That's a very big deal. And so back to the poem. I'm about 97% sure that she wrote the poem, but if she didn't, she chose the poem because it reflected what she felt from this training. And I feel like she sums everything up very nicely to what it's all about and the outcomes that we want for students. It's on the next 3 slides here. I can do anything I set my mind to. I can make dreams happen by the things that I do. Thinking positively no matter what, today and every day, for it's all in how I look at things and what's put into play. I can do anything in this journey called life, laugh, live, celebrate, soar to new heights. For the world seems a better place when I seize each new day. And as I journey, I will remember happiness comes most to those who give it away. So I'll look forward to each new adventure and listen to my heart, follow my goals and do my part, taking joy in today for it's mine to explore, for I can do anything when I let my dreams soar. She summed it up perfectly. All right, so if there are other questions, those can be in the chat, and the evaluations. It's really, I would just love it if you'd fill out your evaluations. Deb's put that link in the chat for you, and or else you can scan the QR code here for that same survey. The first question has the trainer. Sandy S is late in the alphabet, so you have to scroll down a little bit to find my name. And then there's quite a few questions, but they're very quick, short questions that you can respond to. And that really helps provide the documentation for us to say, we're doing the work we're supposed to be doing, and to gather the funding that we need, because we are solely on grants, providing the sources for us to provide this training and all other trainings and our support for families. If families have questions, concerns for their child's education, they can reach out to us. There's an information specialist available and responsible for every county. So you'll see our general email and phone number on this slide here that you can reach out there, and they will put you in touch with the information specialist that's there for you. If you're interested in more information on It's My Turn, or setting up a training, or maybe even gathering more information, maybe you're a teacher or a parent and you want others to learn more about it for your school or your homeschool group, I'm happy to provide, information like this without a commitment of, yeah, we're definitely doing the training. We have a planning meeting 6 weeks prior, and sometimes we can put these two together. If the school says, oh yes, of course, now we would like that, we can finish up with that planning time then too. So my contact information is at the lower part of that slide. You can reach out to me with that information or with your questions there as well. And so if you want to fill out those evaluations, and if we have any last questions, I'm happy to respond to those questions. Like I said, Deb,